Welcome back everyone to another episode of the Crafty Crow Show. Today's project, it's cooling off outside. It's getting fall weather. Actually, happy Halloween. I'm not going to do anything scary. I don't usually do anything scary on Halloween, but it's Halloween today. So, you know, with the kids and stuff, be safe out, have fun trick-or-treating and everything, but happy Halloween from the Crafty Crow Show. Anyway, it's getting fall weather. It's getting the right temperature in the building finally. So today's video, we're going to do a little restoration. Ain't seen one of them in a while, have you? Today's restoration ain't going to be nothing big, nothing fancy, but I'm going to show it to you. Jason from Man's Adventures, you all know Jason. Jason has got in the bushcraft traditional stuff that he's wanting to start trying to do, and is building the kit and everything for it. So, coming from Cobern, again, out of the magic building that I'm pretty sure is magic. Everything he keeps sending, old tools, we've restored plenty of stuff out of Cobern's building. It's a magic building, and one of these days we're going to go get to see what's in that building. But out of the magic building appeared a little bitty spoke shave. So stick with us, come with us. We're going to redo this little spoke shave for Jason, get it sharpened up so he can put in his bushcraft kit. It's a light little option he can take out in the woods and create something cool. Come on, let's go. So right out of the gate, this is what we're looking at. I'll give you a little better view of it. That I can tell right off, and we'll know once we start digging into it. I don't see any kind of maker's marks, any kind of thing. It don't look like an old Stanley. You know, I don't see any markings on it yet. So any of you in the comments, leave down below, you may know, but I don't know that it's anything special. It's just a little bitty draw knife. And you can see from my hand, you know, it's pretty small, actually. It'd be good to stick in a backpack. It's not too heavy. So first thing we're going to do, we're going to try to get this apart. We're going to take this to the wire wheel, clean all this up, and then we are going to take this blade that looks like, I don't know if you can see that curve. See if I can get as close as I can. That curve, it's not exactly flat, so I wonder if somebody has made this blade for it at some point in time and just left a little bit of a lip there. I don't know, but anyway, let's get this thing broke apart and get it cleaned up. This won't be too long of a project. There. Pretty simple. I mean, these things are simple. This has Japanning on it. And for those of you who don't know, I don't totally understand it. But Japanning was a treatment they put on metal tools a long time ago to help preserve them. Instead of just paint, it was way more durable. It was almost like a black tar you put on, then they baked on. And as it baked, it hardened. That's on this. It is tough to get off once it gets on. So, I got off as much as I can, but I've got off all the rust and stuff, and I think I'm going to kind of heat this up and maybe just put some beeswax or something coating on it to coat the bare metal, and that'll be just fine for this. If nothing else, he can take some steel wool every now and then and brush it up. So that's the cleaning part. Now what we're going to do, I'm actually going to, this must have been like a cheaper Yeah, I still don't see any kind of name brand or anything on it, guys. But this must have been a cheap one, but I don't know if you can see right here, the casting was a little off. So I'm gonna take a file to that so it don't catch his thumbs and stuff when he's using it. Square up some of these edges and kind of smooth everything out. And then we will get to work on the blade and we'll sharpen the blade for him. Then we'll try to test it out and see if it works. So hard part's done. Well, I ain't gonna say the hard part. The hard part's getting this thing sharp, trust me. But the dirty work is done. Yeah, we'll go with that. The dirty work is done. So let's take a file and do a little bit of this and clean it up. Now, if I can get you centered. This is my sharpening stones. These are diamond stones. Actually, feeling of them, guys, I think it's time to replace them, and they didn't last nearly as long as I wanted. So I don't remember what brand these were. Right now, I'm not recommending them though. You know, you get what you pay for. But I made this little thing inset. You've got the different degrees for my hand planes. It's 30-degree angle, and this is for oh, I can't remember right off. Anyway, what you do is with this, I have a guide. Let me show you this little guide I got. You know, you're always trying to figure out how to sharpen stuff the easiest and quickest way, most consistent. Have a guide that you would put the blade in and tighten it up, and then wherever the end of that guide set, yeah, I put it in backwards. The end of the guide would set, then you slide the blade out to where it touches that, and that gives you the degrees. There's plenty of stuff on the internet how to build these. It's pretty cool, and it's been really handy to have all your grits right here together. You can quickly put on this little jig, put your hand plane blades in there, and get them sharp, you know. This is the coarsest grit, finest grit. I know that's 300. Let's see what the other ones are, because I know you're probably wondering, going to ask. Goes up to a, oh, it's ultra sharp. That's the brand, 1200 grit. So I think it's 3, 6, and 12 maybe is how that went. But you can find those on Amazon. I got them, and yeah, like I said, wouldn't really recommend it, but I would recommend making this thing because it's pretty daggone handy. First thing I want to do, the sole right here, I'm going to get good and flat and true. But this thing, it doesn't matter like the hand planes and stuff does. It's not as critical. All this is done, but you know, I'm going to make sure that's good and flat. And the only other thing we'll have to do then is flatten the back of this blade, which you'll see. And then we will try to get that angle and sharpen it. And I'll try to do it freehand because this is about too short to use in my jig and to work right. So that's what we're going to do. And then I've got some beeswax over here in my crock pot heating up. We'll heat this up, coat it with some beeswax to protect it, and then we'll be done. So let's get to it. And glass cleaner. Glass cleaner is what, oh, what's his name? I watch him all the time. Paul Sellers. Paul Sellers uses glass cleaner on these things instead of like an oil or something. He says it does just as good. So let's start the long process of truing everything, getting everything flat and making everything sharp. So before we get too far in it, just wanted to show you, you can see how uneven that is. The shiny parts is the flat part from the stone, and the rest of it is dull. So this does need flattened out some. So we'll get to work on this before we get to the blade. I just wanted to show you that difference there, if you can see it. I don't know 100% you guys can see it. But that's how you can tell what you're taking down and what's high and what's low on it. So the shiny parts were the high parts. So we need to get this all shiny all the way across. All right, now I don't know if you can see or not, but the we're not totally flat all the way across, but this edge, it's okay if it's not, because the blade will stick out this way. So we kind of want this leading edge and this back edge to be true and flat to each other. He's going to use this in the bush. It's not a cabinet making thing. Plus this is, I doubt this was ever done to this. This is part of the casting. So I think we're going to call that good and leave that alone. So the next thing is the blade. And I need to take a file of that maybe. I don't know, I think I might leave that. It's a little bit of character to it. There's a story there somewhere. But we're gonna flatten the back first. The reason, I didn't tell you this a minute ago, the reason Paul says use glass cleaner, oils and things will clog up in between your stuff here. And I noticed that because I used oil on it first. I think I'm still paying that price. But the glass cleaner won't set into the pores and clog up. And it's easy to wipe off. So, like I said, we'll start with the back. Let's do this for a second and see what this ends up looking like. As material comes off, and circular motion's always good. As material comes off, you'll see this fluid getting a little bit darker. And that's just from just little tiny bits of metal coming off. When you're doing this, you know, I've got my whole hand on it. This is a little blade. You got to try to keep that consistency and the pressure across the entire blade, because even though it's metal, it will flex some and just enough to mess things up. After you true the back like this, any planes you get, any new plane blades, especially on older antique stuff, a lot of those, there's a lot of the blades that are in good condition that nobody ever really used. You should true the back up first and make sure they're good and flat before you try sharpening. You can see right here and right here, we've got it flat there, but all of this needs taken down. You don't have to do the entire blade. So if you know you've got some low spots back here and stuff, it don't matter, but you want this entire line across the cutting edge to all be even and be flat. That way you can get a good edge on it and get it good and sharp. So let me work on this for a while. I ain't gonna bore you with it, and we'll come back to you in just a few minutes once we get the back trued up. Whew. 953,355 hours later. You can't see it on camera. I mean, you could probably see most of the flat, but it's all flat across the edge. So this is gonna work real good to get an edge on it. This is the hardest part about sharpening a blade, getting the back true. Like I said, you don't have to do this every time, you know, do it once a year or something, you know, unless you use it real heavily. Just check it every so often. It's not that big of a hassle, but this initial thing, whoo doggies. So I'm just running it on the smaller grit just to take a lot of the gouge marks out and stuff and make it a little more shiny. It's a little more presentable. And you can sit here all day on this stuff, guys, and do this. Some people do these very fine grits, blah blah blah. Yeah, you could shave a hair in two with them, but I mean, how long is that going to last? You know, how long is that edge going to last on you before it rolls, because it's not a durable edge? This is going to be working out in the bush. This is going to be working hard, so we're not too worried about it. It's still going to do its job. It might not be splitting hair sharp, but it's going to be sharp enough to do its job. Now, what you do to do this freehand, set this down, lift it up until you feel the front edge hit. Keep it at that angle. Push, pull, either one, it doesn't matter. It's hard to find because I have a hard time finding it, but once you get it locked in there, lock it in and go back and forth. And something to remember, use their entire stone. I mean, that's all cutting edge from one end of the stone to the other, and people want to work just right here in the middle doing these short strokes. You need to work the whole thing. And just looking at that quick, I don't know if you can see. Lord, we need better camera equipment, don't we? I don't know if you can see, but that's already flattened most of that edge out. and I can feel the edge starting to come on that. So let's just keep at this, get your angle right, lock it in, and you'll see it pushing some of that fluid and stuff ahead of it, and that's fine. All right, let me get this sharp, use different grits, and I'll show you the end result. And then I'll show you what we're going to do to get it super sharp. Be right back with you. Last thing, it's an old leather belt, made a leather strop out of. So take some of the stropping compound, which there's already some on it, but I've been building it up on this one. And then you just take it, run it backwards. As you can see, I got it a little sharp already and kind of took the tip of my finger off. But you just put a lot of down pressure at the right angle and strop it. And believe it or not, the leather will make these things razor sharp. And it will polish the edge and stuff too. So all it does is get that burr off the edge that forms when you sharpen it. So we're going to strop this, then we'll put it all together and I'll bring you back and we'll see how it looks completed. And just like that, a little quick restoration of a little hand plane spoke shave. Okay, so that was all the assembly. I'm going to heat this up, and I ain't going to bore you with this. Just a torch to kind of heat the metal up and get it warm, not super hot, just warm, and paint a little bit of beeswax on it, and then, you know, wipe off the excess, and that will be good enough to seal this metal. But before we go, I'm going to close out the video, let you see how this thing works, and let's go see if it works. But yeah, Jason's on a cruise right now. You all see his cruise videos coming up. But while he's gone, since he abandoned me, I wanted to do this for him and make this little piece of kit for him and clean it up for him where it's usable for him. So yeah, nothing fancy, nothing special. But anyway, hope y'all enjoyed the video. Thank you for coming along. Glad we're back out in the shop. There's going to be more projects coming up. I don't know what yet. There's a couple in mind, but we'll get back out here and start doing some projects again and maybe get the videos a little more, what's the word? Weekly, whatever. Oh, anyway, enjoy your Halloween, everybody. Thanks for stopping by. And until next time, love one another, as the good Lord tells you. Now let's go shave some wood.